Alrighty, ladies and gentlemen, thank you very much for joining me. First of all, I apologize. I got a little residual Sumozuki stuff going on over there from last night, but I will be solo casting tonight. Still working on getting these teams together and all signed into Chair League. If you guys are not familiar with Chair League Season 3, you actually have to go in and sign up 4 members of your team. So we're working on that. We got everybody in the lobby, though. This match is totally going to happen here on Tomb of the Spider Queen. Thank you very much for joining me. I am BJandCo, your host, and I'll be totally happy to bring you guys this match tonight. It's going to be really exciting. So let me go ahead and get these teams up to speed. Looks like right now we've got 4 members of BJandCo. Just waiting on Zero Respect to go ahead and respect the rules, the new Chair League rules, and get in here and sign in. Yeah. Let me give him the link to the match. Alright, I'm going to get these draft links out to these guys so we can get this started for everybody. And let me get the link out to Zero Respect. It is a whole new world and a whole new system, but it looks like we're just about ready to get started. So I'm super excited. Tomb of the Spider... Oh, did I put on Towers of Doom? Uh-oh. That's my bad. Okay, well... let's see. Lobby. I swear, I'm not as bad at this as I look. I promise. Well, it looks like both teams are pretty much okay with the fact that it just says the wrong thing at the top. Everybody knows we're on Tomb of the Spider Queen. I don't know if I can... Actually, yeah, I can restart the draft. Let's go ahead and do that. I'm going to hit the restart button here. Just to get it out correctly. There we go. There we go. That one out to them. It's J Money their link, and I think now we're good to go. Hopefully. All right, I think we're just about ready to go. Now we're just waiting on Zero Respect. So yeah, Tomb of the Spider Queen, a really fun map to be able to cast on, just because there's so much action. And usually the matches aren't very long on Tomb of the Spider Queen. They're like any map. Sometimes the matches can go on forever, but usually they're pretty cut and dry. One team tends to snowball on Tomb of the Spider Queen depending on how well your siege is, and how well you're able to control those turn-ins and get the map objective rolling. And sometimes, a lot of times, what we end up seeing is teams not really taking very good advantage of the map objective. A lot of times that comes down to the situation. Let's see. Yep, there it is. All right, so the draft has begun. Speaking of sieging and aiding sieging with the map objective, there goes Sylvanas. That's a great first ban. I really like the Sylvanas pickup or ban concept on this map, and I really hope we're seeing a Zagara ban come out from Zero Respect here as a response. That is always very crucial in this situation, to make sure that you don't have to go against Zag or Sylv on this map. I'm a big proponent, but they are going to go ahead and get rid of Kerrigan. I guess right now they're more afraid of the team fighting potential that Kerrigan brings, so they're going to go ahead and pick that one. And actually, we're going to see Zol come out from BJandCo. So right now, neither team prioritizing Zagara. Maybe I'm just a little bit gun shy from last night, but Zagara has just been a dominating force. I kind of feel like both teams right now are kind of going back and forth here, not really picking up that jewel or banning it out from their opponent. But Zol is also very good on this map, a lot like Sylvanas, and Zagara has the ability to put a lot of early game pressure, particularly if a team decides to go with that 4-man rotation. Zol can be a really big asset to that 4-man rotation to put a lot of pressure on the top and mid lane, if that's the rotation you decide to go with. Getting a lot of early cannon shots out, draining that ammo, getting a lot of damage done, and there's Zagara. So we are going to see Zero Respect go ahead and pick up the Scourge Wonder right now. Zagara is just so OP in her current form. Such a lane bully, such a presence on the map. The vision that she provides around the turn-ins is just impeccable. And they're gonna get a Li Ming here before the next ban phase. I think it's also a very smart move, going ahead and getting your DPS out early here, so they have at least one solid damage dealer. They got their burst damage ready to go. She is countered a little bit by Zol and those skeletal mages that are made there, so it's just more things getting in the way of Li Ming and her orbs and missiles and everything else that she puts out. But it's kind of rough for her to have to deal with that, but it's not the end of the world. She still can take a lot of advantage in other ways on this map. There are a lot of sneaky little corners and walls that she can throw things over to get a lot done. Meanwhile, we're going to see Rhaegar coming out from BJandCo is going to be their healer pickup here. They still have one more before this ban phase. They could go with a tank. They could go with one of the main damage dealers to make sure they get one before the bans and these next two picks for Zero Respect. We'll have to see what they decide to prioritize here. I think I would try and get one of my damage dealers, just simply due to the fact that they've already got Zero Respect already has Li Ming, so that's the perfect choke for them to be able to apply. But they're going to go ahead and start building that front line with Arthas. Arthas is a pretty good counter to Zagara, being able to throw that frost ring out around himself and just discover where any of those tumors might be lying, so he can just take them out. So not a bad pickup there. Also, he has kind of the same shutdown he could have the same shutdown pressure as Sylvanas if they decide to go with another strong frontline tank. You know, I'm a big fan of being able to go with Arthas and Syndragosa on these kind of maps, where you can throw it down, turn off all those, turn off all the cannons and the towers, even the keeps and forts. You can just turn them all off and be able to push with that map objective. And yeah, interesting that Falstad made it this far, but they are going to get him banned out. That's probably the next best damage dealer next to Li Ming in the game right now. Certainly one of the most popular burst damage dealers. And with BJandCo not picking that up, that's the choke that they decide to apply. Meanwhile, we see the tank chokehold being applied by BJandCo with the ETC ban, which is a pretty solid ban. You know, right now, they don't really have a whole lot to counter the mosh pit, so just throwing it right out the window, pretty smart move there. And yeah, just in general, both teams drafted pretty well so far. I think so far I like Zero Respect with their draft just a little bit more, but we'll have to see how they follow it up here. Still need a tank, still need a healer, probably another frontliner. They're going to go ahead and pick up Ariel, which is good. Oh, wait a minute. Ariel got added to top drafter. Nice. It's nice to finally see our friend Ariel joining us here, not only in the Nexus, but also on Heroes Draft. I mean, on Top Drafter. But Ariel is a very, very good healer with a Li Ming. With Ariel, you need a burst damage dealer to be able to throw up that trade-on, to be able to get as much energy back, to be able to put out that healing. Ariel is the kind of hero that you have to play a comp around her. So being able to have high damage dealers like Li Ming, that's the only point. It's the only point to having an Ariel on your team. Also going to pick up some good wave clear in Johanna. They have an incredibly good wave clear team right now. Li Ming is one of the best wave clears in the game, as far as like ranged damage dealers go. Jaina, probably the only one that's got a big wave clear advantage on her. Li Ming and Kael'thas pretty even in that category. So, you know, picking up Ariel, who has great wave clear, picking up Zagara, that's a big lane bully, Johanna, that has a tremendous amount of wave clear as a tank. But we are going to see the Jaina pickup as a response. Not a whole lot of dive potential for Zero Respect. So having Jaina in that back line, protected with, you know, Arthas in front of her, with Zol in front of her, Rhaegar probably, usually also kind of in that front line kind of role a lot of the time. We see Rhaegar's jumping out a little too far sometimes, but certainly a lot of protection for Jaina so far. We'll have to see how they close this out. They don't really have another true frontliner. They're gonna just kind of go with the solo tank Arthas, which is interesting. The Raynor pickup, I do kind of like Raynor on this map. Any big map objective pushing kind of map, it's nice to have anti-siege heroes, you know, like a Raynor, like a Tychus, like a Vala, Lunara, those kind of heroes that can really poke it from a distance and be able to take it down. And Raynor's a pretty good pick for that. But overall, they just don't have a whole lot of dive potential. You know, right now, I'm a little worried that they might be being bullied a bit, as their front line is not really that strong. If a lot of damage comes out here from Zero Respect, they can end up just shoving right in and doing what they want, and Lunara is going to be yet another one to be able to aid them in that push. So we are going to see these drafts have been completed here, and I got to tell you, I really like Zero Respect's draft. I feel like they've drafted very, very well for the map. I feel like they've also drafted pretty good for team fighting. Rhaegar usually is going to be able to put out more raw heals and certainly more burst heals than Ariel, but I don't know. I don't know if Rhaegar is going to be able to keep up with the pure damage throughput that Zero Respect is going to have. Not to mention the wave clear. I think that they're winning the map objectives, and they're winning, you know, like just in terms of draft orientation here. I think they're winning in terms of what they need to be able to do to complete this map objective. And even with that solo frontline Johanna, it just offers so much more tank potential than what Arthas can do up in that front line. I feel like they're going to have the ability to really be able to dictate how they want these fights to go. They have the option of being able to poke, to be able to retreat and poke on the retreat. They also, I think they do have the potential to put out so much damage that they might be able to bully BJandCo here. Alright, so we are going to be loading in here on Tomb of the Spider Queen. This placement match here in Chair League is going to be played right here, right now. Thank you very much for joining me, guys. Introducing first the blue team. On the left, it is going to be BJandCo with Gerudo King on Arthas, Odin X on Jaina, Monferno 2 on Zol, Russian on Rhaegar, and Rob Dog 159 on Raynor. And on the left, we're going to have Zero Respect. There we go. Zero Respect with J Money on Zagara. Majafiski 82 on Johanna, Super Flip on Lunara, Stu Manchu on Oriel, and Blind Fury on Li Ming. So it looks like right now, BJandCo already going for that four-man split. Give me just 1 second. Just a little bit of these. There we go. Meanwhile, we are going to see all 5 members kind of creeping into the middle here. J-Money's going to go ahead and start laying down that creep on Zagara. He wants to get plenty of sight around these turn-in locations, be able to get a good idea of when exactly BJandCo are trying to turn in. Meanwhile, it looks like right now, BJandCo just waiting to try and find something down here, see if somebody tries to crawl in through the mist to get a little cheese done. But right away, we're going to see a bit of an advantage here with a 4-man rotation squad from the side of Zero Respect, and instantly, these guys are rotating like champions right out the bat. You never know what you're going to find in a placement match of Chair League. All kinds of different quality of players in these kind of matches, but right away, a very strong 4-man rotation. These guys are sticking together, and they're doing it up really coordinated style here. Zol getting a little bit of response pressure up here in the top, but so far, BJandCo not really rotating much if at all. They're actually putting Rainer down here in the bottom lane versus Zagara. That is not going to pay off in the long run. J-Money is going to end up bullying Rob Dog around down here, and the rotations are going to have to come in quick fashion to be able to help him out and maybe try and get a gank or something here on J-Money. Otherwise, he's just going to be a terror down here in this bottom lane. Meanwhile, the rotation certainly being won here in the mid lane. You see a lot of ammo already being drained off the mid lane here for the side of BJandCo. So Super Flip putting a lot of pressure out there on that mid lane along with that rotation. And these guys are still responding to Zol. Monferno, too, not able to get nearly as much work done. Has actually gotten a pretty respectable amount of the ammo down, but are seeing a bit of engage here in the bottom. Super Flip getting in a little bit of trouble, but ultimately the poke potential is coming out here. You see that it doesn't always take frontline, ladies and gentlemen, to really be able to bully. Sometimes it's just that coordinated assault from the ranged characters. And you see all the damage here. Russian is still trying to recover from that, having a very hard time there on Rhaegar. He's actually going to go ahead and beat it, not feeling like he can heal himself up quick enough just yet. Level 4, he could end up picking up that regeneration talent on the Ghost Wolf form, but doesn't have that yet, doesn't have the ability to really do that. Meanwhile, Blind Fury is just getting a ton of poke out here. Dylan, oh, there it is on Rainer! Oh, the orb from nowhere. Just completely deleting him off the map. This right away. Yeah, actually, it's mostly Lunara doing most of the hard work, but definitely a great orb there to be able to secure that kill. First kill going over to the side of Zero Respect. Gems being turned in here. Right now the rotations are definitely being won by Zero Respect. They've got about 20 more gems here turned in and on their way to that first 50. They're also doing a nice job of denial here, as Johanna is the ultimate denial in all of Heroes of the Storm. Nobody does it better than Johanna in terms of getting in there and being able to get those interrupts on the turn-in. Meanwhile, Arthur's trying to do what he can here. Birdo King trying to get in there and get rid of some of this creep so that they don't have quite such a good idea of exactly when they're coming in to turn in, but not able to do a whole lot as Lunara gets a lot of that poke. Oh, but she's in trouble here. The root comes down, and that is going to be a nice pick-off there for the side of BJandCo, and making it look easy there on the Lunara. Monferno, too, taking advantage of that Bone Prism, being able to get in there and get him down, but a lot of poke coming back here as Blind Fury coming in again, got the Ariel hat on there, giving a lot of energy, and there's going to be yet another kill. They're able to chase down Arthas and gun in for Rainer yet again. He's learned his lesson, though. He's going to back out of that situation. Not going to get caught by that twice in a row. But right now, Blind Fury is really making the hits count and getting and meanwhile, this team just continues to dominate the rotations. They're up almost a full. Well, they're about half a level at this point, a little bit more. But yet again, a ton of harass coming out on poor Rob Dog up here. These rotations, he's just not able to make those rotations in an effective manner. with these guys, with the poke that's being rotated in response. You know, I would just see all 5 members here pushing in this mid is going to try. They're going to try and push back against this Web Weaver phase. They don't yet have level 7. It's very, very close, but for now they are down a talent tier, and nobody's soaking these outside lanes, particularly in the bottom. We are going to see Monferno eventually respond to that on the bottom with Zol. But again, the poke coming out in the mid lane is here are the first Web Weavers. They're going to get a lot of focus here into the mid. Ultimately, we're actually going to see all 5 rotating to this, and right away, GuardoKing taking a lot of harass on Arthas, and we're also going to see Rhaegar getting caught a little bit out here, but this mid fort is in trouble. They're doing everything they can to try and defend it, but Arthas trying a little bit too hard as he's going to go in and get completely taken out. Zol does get the response. Jaina able to get the response in the top lane to be able to get those 2 Web Weavers down. And finally, the cleanup crew is going to come in here into the mid. But the first fort of the game is down, and here are all 5 members rotating yet again for the side of Zero Respect. They are not respecting their team here at all, living up to their name. They're going to take the second fort of the game, and all of a sudden, the lead has come out to almost 2 full levels, and level 10 is just right around the corner. But Monferno is going to get that turn in the bottom. The creep not really doing a whole lot when you're on the other side of the map, but at this point, this is what we're talking about with turn-ins not necessarily counting for a whole lot. We are going to see them rotating in here to be able to get a nice solid gank attempt on Zol, and it looks like they are going to get him with the Condemn. Is going to be able to bring him back in and take him out. But this is what we're talking about with not being able to take huge advantages from your turn-ins. The side of BJandCo have just turned in 50 gems, but they're not going to get a whole lot out of this because the level 10s have already been picked up for the side of Zero Respect. And right now you can see it. BJandCo not really willing to take any kind of fight. We're even going to see the rotation here from Lunara up to the top lane to be able to get some harass out on Rob Dog yet again, and he is in trouble up here in the top. He is going to proc that heal, but that is not going to be enough. He's going to be taken down, and you can see these Web Weavers have been cleaned up to a full 2-level lead at this point, and not a whole lot done. They got a little bit of the top lane cleaned up, but nothing in the mid lane, almost nothing in the bottom lane, and right now just complete dominance from Zero Respect. It almost would have been better if Zol hadn't gotten those turn-ins and just waited to try to get to level 10 where they could really take some sort of advantage. But, or at least, you know, wait for a pick or something, because right now, you know, 50 gems down the drain. They've got to get 55 more in at this point to be able to get the next Web Weavers, and they are down 2 levels, and it's just going to kind of be a rough life for them for a little while in this game, at least, as it looks like we are going to see Zero Respect trying to at least dump some of these gems out. They're going to be able to secure a turn-in if they want to try and get this Zagara turned in. They're just just a few gems short from her, but Johanna's got the rest of them that they need for that. They are going to go ahead and rotate up Johanna to turn this in, but are we going to see J-Mon? There he is. He's going to go ahead and turn it in. But now level 10s have been picked up, so maybe a little bit of a misplay there. They could have pushed that to get that turn in a little earlier, but at this point they've let BJandCo go ahead and pick up those 10s. Now they have a fighting chance to be able to get something done here on Tomb of the Spider Queen. All 5 members here in the bottom lane for the side of Zero Respect. They are going to go ahead and see the Syndragosa coming out. Called it, just saying. We are going to see a ton of damage coming out from Jaina trying to get super flip down, but a great response, a huge maw coming out. The Ancestral will connect on GuardoKing to be able to keep Arthas alive in this fight. They are going to push back with, oh, but Raynor is going to be taken out. He gets the Hyperion out, but then the huge response there from Li Ming able to get those, but we are going to see them backing out here. I don't know with that reset. You know, I'd like to see them try a little harder, but I guess she didn't have a whole lot of mana. So that I guess that makes a lot of sense too. But GuardoKing very, very low here. That orb, going to be able to get away from that orb, but not away from the rest of the team. The orb was basically cut off there. A super flip going in deep there to be able to get down Rhaegar as well. And all of a sudden, this match has gone from almost even yet again to ugly once more. And suddenly Zero Respect seem to be snowballing this one once again. These Web Weavers getting the third and final fort down, and all of a sudden, the structures are starting to really go over to the side of Zero Respect. And looks like they might be looking up to the top lane here. Maybe trying to boss? I don't know. It doesn't seem like this is the right time, but, you know, right now, the way they've been playing this game, they might just go for it anyway. Right now, looks like they're going for mostly just goaltending and clearing. Both of those mid and bottom lanes were pushed out pretty far, so they might just be looking for XP. This is the part of the game where you want to goaltend, and it makes it so easy with Zagara. J-Money on Zagara doing a great job of keeping this creep spread just everywhere on the map. It's just an ugly, ugly reality of having to play on such a small map against Zagara. She's good on big maps because she can take Nidus Network to be able to get a lot done in a lot of different places with split pushing, and it's hard to respond to her, so you almost have to have globals in order to be able to respond to her. But she's also good on little maps because she's, you know, there's not a whole lot of places that you can go that she can't scout out with those darn tumors. But we do see, it looks like at this point they have not been shaken here on the side of BJandCo. It does look like they're going to go ahead and dump some of their coins. They're going to get out to the lanes and start to clear. Trying to push back against J-Money a little bit here. This bottom lane, Mercs have been captured. The siege camp not going to do a whole lot here other than attract the attention. We are going to see yet again people just dumping gems at this point. Neither team has enough to turn in. So right now they're just looking to go ahead and do what they can to soak. But we are going to see an aggressive rotation here. As the Mercs are being picked up here, we are going to see Zero Respect, again, not really respecting their opponents and their ability to rotate here. But J-Money is out here in lane, is going to see them coming. But ultimately, yeah, the boss is being taken, and they are in a position to be able to get here and try. But Cindergosa thrown out very early, not doing a whole lot. We are going to see Gerdo King go ahead and walk in here to be able to at least make an attempt at this. But the Maw is gonna completely deny them the ability to try and get on that. And it is going to be picked up from the side of Zero Respect, but a nice response at least to get the 5-man team wipe. It is going to be a 3-for-5 exchange up here in the favor of BJandCo, but they are going to lose the boss. And now only Arthas and Rhaegar are going to be able to really defend against this thing. And a lot of gems left up on the floor, though. That's the big part of it, is now they're going to be coming out here with no bank, no coins at all. 45 before they're able to get yet another turn in. And a big moment there, a big swing in momentum for BJandCo. All of a sudden, only down about a level. They are going to be able to clean up this boss before it gets too much work done. But not sure what Odin's doing there exactly. Just kind of standing around waiting for the boss to do his thing. But Arthas going ahead and trying to get that turn in, but it's going to be denied from the side of Zero Respect. At this point, they have picked up their 16s. And for the next level are going to have the advantage, but no coins to really be able to take an advantage of it. You know, kind of a greedy boss call there, particularly not having Zagara on there trying to actually capture it, but instead being the one that's out there zoning. You kind of expect Johanna to be filling that role. Kind of an interesting shot call there from the side of Zero Respect. But they did get the boss, but I feel like they paid for it a lot. They really... This is what BJandCo needed to be able to get back into this game. As soon as they hit 16, they could end up getting a power spike here that allows them some opportunity to be able to strike back. And we'll have to see. All those ults are up for each side. And right now, if you are BJandCo, the only thing you really need to avoid is any kind of team fighting at all. Don't get picked. Don't get caught out in lane. Don't go after them full on. You've got all the gems. You've got all the potential. But they are getting a little bit aggressive here in the bottom lane. They're split up. Raynor is not with them, and Gerdo King is getting in a ton of trouble here. And he has most of their bank too. A ton of gems are going to be left there on the floor, and just a huge misplay. Getting a little bit too aggressive, and a good response there from Zero Respect. They realized they made a little bit of a sloppy play on that boss call, but right now they're stepping back and they're playing it correctly. They caught out Arthas completely, and they know what they're doing here. They know that they're not going to want to fight. At this point, they're not going to want to fight too hard, but they do have the advantage for at least a little while here while Arthas is down, and BJandCo know this. They know that they can't really compete without Arthas, so they're splitting up. They're soaking the lanes, and a big rotation here. Well, maybe a rotation. No, it looks like they're going to back off. Looks like they might have been going after Rob Dog. It looks like they still might. 4 members here in the top lane. Zagara split pushing as she's supposed to. But right now, looks like both teams are just trying to regroup. Oh, Rhaegar gets caught in a horrifying rotation mistake. And yet again, it looks like every time that BJandCo has some kind of opportunity to be able to get back into this, as soon as they get 16, they just they lose Rhaegar in that rotation. As soon as they were about to get 16, they lose Arthas. It's been rough. They're going to try and go in here without Rhaegar, though, saying that they don't need any heals. The Maw comes out, and instantly Li Ming's able to blow up 2. Coming out of the Maw, she's going to catch Raynor, and a frightening misplay there. Yet again, a ton of gems left on the floor as well. Gerdo King, the only one surviving, but unfortunately, he was the one who died recently, so he's got no gems left. And all of a sudden, the entire bank of BJandCo is going to be sitting on the floor. And Zero Respect is going to get the first keep of the game and is going to rotate in here for an easy turn in. Boss is up in 45, so they're not going to wait on that. They're going to go ahead and secure the turn in. All 5 members of BJandCo will be up here, and they're down 3 levels, but they are not down the talent tier at this point. So they could mount a defense here, but it's looking a little bit grim for them right about now. That was one of those opportunities yet again where, you know, maybe if they had Rhaegar, they might have been able to do something a little bit different there, but they decided to go in and fight 5v4 despite the rotation error and despite the pick-off, and did not pay off for them. They did a lot of damage, and they definitely hit their ults, but that Maw was the big difference maker. Isolated 2 members of the team, and that just made it rough. That just made it hard to compete with them after that. 2 members got completely exploded, and picked up the 3rd one coming out of that Maw. Poor Raynor could not get himself out of there. Meanwhile, we do see the push here in the top lane, going after the 2nd keep with the aid of the Spider Queen. Getting these spiders out of here. We are going to see the return. Ancestral is going to hit on Johanna, or on Jaina, I should say, but Zol is going to get very low and taken out here. The superior poke damage really showing itself as they are going to achieve level 20, and that is pretty much going to spell the end here, as we are seeing 2 web weavers, or at least the 1 web weaver pushing in here, and the core is going down. That is going to be it. Zero Respect picking up the win in style here on Tomb of the Spider Queen. A really great match coming out there from Zero Respect. They had the damage. They had the team that was going to be able to really pick on... go back on... Well, yeah, we'll just... look at some of the stats here. They really had the poke potential. So not only the ability to bully in a general sense, but also the ability to really focus down certain members and dictate how they wanted to fight, right? You know, you saw a lot of those team fights where they'd be kind of jostling for position a little bit, but then they would, if it wasn't going well, they'd just back out, and they'd be able to poke while they back out with, you know, with Ariel damage coming in to be able to get those heals, Li Ming being able to poke for days, Lunara not only being able to poke, but being able to apply that slow to many members to make it a little bit harder to chase. Johanna, you know, the best peeler in the game. Zagara just in general, just a complete terror, and no matter what direction they're going. And ultimately, as soon as they wanted to turn, as soon as they wanted to push in, they had the ability to do that too. Meanwhile, not a whole lot of movement speed and not a whole lot of ability to be able to get out of that from the side of BJandCo. They had a couple moments there where I felt like they could have turned it around, but just little things. It was just little things, like, you know, those getting a little bit over aggressive in the bottom lane when they were split, getting caught out just a little bit on the rotations. And this could have been a completely different match. You know, I gotta respect the ability for them to go in there and go all in on that boss attempt in the top and actually steal the boss. They got the boss, but ultimately it just wasn't enough to be able to turn the game around. So they had some BJandCo had some great moments in there, but ultimately Zero Respect able to pull this one down. First win of their placement matches in their quest to be able to go 4-0 and try and make it on up to Division 1. And yeah, great match from both of these guys. I'm going to go ahead and throw up the talents for you so you guys can take a little snapshot and see what these guys were playing. I've got another match coming up in about, we're going to be going live in about 15 minutes for a Division 3 match. So I hope you guys will stick around for that. And for now, I'm going to go ahead and sign out and take a little break, but I will be back soon. Thanks, guys.